So how many of you know how much of the ocean, or percent of the ocean that we know? Any guesses? 10%.
5%.
Like 1%.
How many?
5%, correct. Good job, Mr. Eddie. Anyway, can you imagine that? 5% of the entire ocean, 95% of completely potential ways how we can find solutions. So I'm going to be talking about oceanic biomimicry. Okay, so I'll get into what it really means later. So who knows Velcro? Everyone knows Velcro, right? That's actually an example of biomimicry, which I'll get into later. So I've been studying biomimicry for about a couple weeks now, so I know what I'm talking about. If you know more than me, then don't correct me during my speech, please. Thank you. But the point is, the potential to learn or discover new animals may also be a potential way for us to discover new solutions to our problems as of today. So during my speech, I'm going to be talking about a brief history of what biomimicry is, some ways it is applied, and some cons about it, just to give you guys a broader perspective of what biomimicry is. So, biomimicry has been around since at least, or at the most, I want to say, since the Renaissance. You guys are familiar with Da Vinci, with his inventions using mimicking like wings off of bats. An article by Claire Schulich in Time magazine stated that Velcro was actually invented by a Swiss engineer, a guy named Georges de Mistral. And how he discovered Velcro was actually, he was walking with his dog, this was 1941. He was walking with his dog through the forest, and he got these little, like, it's hard to describe them. They have like little hooks on them, and they're annoying. Have you guys know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. Or have at least experienced something similar to it? Okay, so that's what he noticed on himself and his dog, and he wondered, okay, how can I apply that and make it useful? So through 8 years of research, he eventually created it's actually called the hook and loop fastener, but we call it Velcro, just same thing as a zip lock. So going back, biomimicry started off. It wasn't actually a field until 1997, when a woman named Claire Benyaz created the field and also introduced it to the public by her book, Biomimicry, Inspiration from Nature. So going back to what biomimicry is, breaking it down, bio is means life. Mimicry obviously means imitate. So that's what the entire field study is. So how it's applied. One example is actually shark skin. So how many of you knew that shark skin actually reduced drag and actually repelled microorganisms like algae or bacteria? Pretty interesting, right? So what scientists did, what they did is they applied that and turned it into a coating, or they created surface materials based upon that. One, for example, would be shark lip technologies. So sad. But that's one way. That's one example how biomimicry is applied. Another is actually the ridge of a humpback whale. Okay, so the fin. You know fins on the whale, not the tail, but like the fins. You know how it has ridges on it? If you guys ever noticed. Okay, what they did was a scientist, professor actually. It's kind of funny. His name is Frank Fish. From Westchester University. What he did was he took these ridges and he applied it to a fan, and the fan actually not only decreased the noise, but also the energy the fan produced actually increased by 20%. So the third example would be actually this wind turbine. So a scientist, John Debris, based off of 14 more inventions, inspired by biomimicry, based off of BloombergBusiness.com. What he did was he noticed that the way school of fishes move through the water. So what he did was he applied that and turned it into a wind farm. So you guys have all seen wind farms, right? How they take all the space up. So what he did was he actually created like a little wind farm, probably like less than half of the size of an actual wind farm that we have today. and then generate even more power. So now that I've given you guys a brief history of what biomimicry is, how it's applied, I'm going to go into like the cons. So biomimicry, it's a good solution, but what it can do is it can stagnate or kind of plateau a person's thinking, because they become very dependent on that one design, and also lessens creativity, because then you just, like I said, you just base it off the design. You're not coming up with things, not thinking out of the box. So that's just one cons of biomimicry. So that now that you guys know not only a little bit of the history of biomimicry, how it's applied, and some of the cons of it, I'm gonna wrap this speech up. Even though it's just, what I went over is just the ocean, and it can be applied, or it can be related to many other things, such as just rainforests or other things. The future is all around us. What it takes for us to create the future is to finally realize our understanding or our surroundings and apply them. Thank you.